Hello and welcome. We are just opening up today's session here as we meet all of you in this course viewing experience. Those of you who are joining in, you're interested in learning more about this program, you can see here on your screen that you've reached the Columbia Business School Executive Education program here in Options Strategy. This is an online program, so it's an online offering. And today we're here to tell you all about it. One of the things that we're going to be featuring here today as we make our way through the session is there's sort of two key areas you can expect to see here. The first one, you're going to be learning all about the content of this program. So what's in the program? What are those overarching learning objectives? What can you expect to learn from week to week? The second thing you're going to be touching on here is how is that learning delivered? So what is the experience like? And we're going to illuminate both of those here for you here in the session. So thank you for joining. Our keynote speaker and subject matter expert is here with us, a program leader here. And one of the things that you'll be doing here is learning directly from one of the program leaders in charge of sort of being at the helm of your daily learning experience. So we're very happy to have you with us. We have Rit Kirati, who's a program leader, as well as an industry expert and subject matter expert here in this topic. I would love to have you jump in and say hello and introduce yourself here to the audience.
Hi, everyone. Good to meet you all. I'm very happy to be here. I would love to introduce you to the program. I think there's a slide later for me to introduce myself, or why don't I hold off on that until at that point?
Great. Yep. So we'll get that introduction slide here in just a moment. So we'll get a little bit more detail on your background here, but a lot in store as you think about the many different relationships you're going to be building here in this program. You do have your program leaders really at the helm of that daily teaching, but at the helm of the curriculum here, your program faculty. We have Michael Johannes, and he's really the person who designed this course, designed the curriculum, and really has made the incredible wealth of knowledge that's housed within Columbia Business School available to each and every one of you through this online offering of his course. And so we've made this course we've designed this program similar to the program here at Columbia Business School. And certainly what you'll find today as we make our way through the content, as we've really been able to extend beyond the reach of what's possible in the classroom, in a traditional in-person classroom here in the online environment. As you think of the expertise at the helm of the content here, Michael Johannes is the person who really put this course together. He's been at Columbia since receiving his PhD in economics at the University of Chicago in 2000. He's held visiting appointments at Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Management, and Stanford University's Graduate School of Business. He has also taught a course at Princeton University on derivatives, housing, and mortgage-backed securities. He teaches courses on derivatives, statistical methods in finance, investment, and risk management at the MBA, Master's, PhD, and Executive MBA level. His academic research focuses on applied and theoretical issues in finance, with a particular focus on options markets. And that's where we have this program here. Much of his research really centers on understanding volatility dynamics, market crashes, and periods of market crisis in order to understand how options and derivatives markets prices these risks. So his research has been published in leading journals in finance, economics, and statistics, including the American Economic Review, Journal of Finance, Journal of Econometrics, Journal of the American Statistical Association, and Review of Financial Studies and Statistical Science. So all of these themes, all of these expert themes are really culminating to look across that lifelong learning journey as you look ahead and you seek to learn more and stay ahead of the trends here in finance, as certainly having these intersectional approaches folded into this program. So you're going to see many of these themes that we talked about here illuminate as we showcase the curriculum here today. As you step a layer deeper from that, so you have yourself as an individual, you have your peers in the course with you, you've got your program leaders at the helm of your daily learning. And the broader ecosystem here is Columbia Business School itself, which is where this course is born from here at Columbia Business School. It is one of the world's leading business schools. It really prides itself on excellent faculty, as you saw in the previous slide, really at the helm of or really at the nexus of change within their industries, helping to push thinking and drive engagement. So faculty here at Columbia Business School are especially concerned about and committed to teaching and learning. So really these programs are designed to provide each and every one of you with superior knowledge and thought leadership, and to do so across disciplines, across divisions, in order to have that well-rounded business education. And so the school was established in 1916 to provide that business training and professional preparation for undergraduate and graduate Columbia University students. And what we know now, unlike 1916, when learning was a lot more episodic, you went and you got what you needed, and then you got one sort of degree, and that was it, and enough to last the rest of your profession. In today's modern job market, the skills that you need today with digital transformation and so many other things, the half-life of those skills is about 5 years. And for technical skills, it's 2 years. And so no longer is one undergraduate and graduate experience enough to really span across the career lifespan. But really you're looking at a lifelong learning journey that's required to stay relevant and ahead of the skills, not only of today, but also of tomorrow. And that's one of the things Columbia Business School is certainly doing. The proximity there to the world's leading business hub, New York City, certainly positions Columbia's Business School in a way that allows it to not only think of theory and research, but think of those things that really apply in practice. And really being in that hub, that global business hub, they have that special opportunity to do just that. So you're going to see that come to life here. A lot of the curriculum is designed to help you to make practical use application as you learn, to really roll up your sleeves and engage in the content. This is an interactive and engaging program, and all the programs here are. Not only that, you're joining this large community, this alumni community. You can see some of your alumni stats here on your screen. The school has almost 50,000 alumni in 123 countries and about 86 alumni clubs globally. Columbia Business School is part of Columbia University, which has provided 85 Nobel Prize winners, 5 founding fathers of the United States, 9 justices of the United States Supreme Court, 29 Academy Award winners, and 4 US presidents. So welcome to Columbia Business School, and welcome to this program. Why is this topic relevant? Why is expanding your options as a sophisticated investor something that you should be thinking about? You know that options trading experienced a substantial increase in popularity, with the number of trades surging by 35% in 2021 compared to previous years. So in the US alone, brokerages received 2.4 billion in payment for order flow for options, and only 1.3 billion for equities. Despite this rapid growth, there exists a considerable gap in knowledge and understanding of the potential to use these instruments for responsible risk mitigation and profit maximization. Designed by expert finance faculty at Columbia Business School Executive Education, this program is here to meet that need. It gives investors and finance professionals a deep understanding of options, including how to incorporate financial instruments in an overall investment strategy. So as you think about the job market, this stat here you see on your screen, 39 million in 2021, a record 39 million options contracts traded daily, which was an increase again of 35% over 2020. So 35% increase year over year. This is something we should be thinking about and learning about here. If you are a mid to senior level institutional investor, a financial professional, and individual investor, then this program is really going to help you to deepen your understanding and learn how to incorporate this knowledge as you learn it. So if you're looking to really expand your skill set and really have more of a strategic and advanced investment strategy, this program is going to give you the tools to manage risk, improve your returns, and make more informed decisions. So this is the crux of why you're here. Is this program right for me? So certainly as you think about learning more in this session, as we continue to move forward in today's agenda, this is the question you're coming back to. So is this course really the right direction, the right next step in my lifelong learning journey? So we hope to showcase that for you here today. And again, if you do have any questions, please put them there for us in that Q&A box. If you'd like to talk about the challenges you're looking at, the skills you need, or if you have any questions at all about this program as it pertains to you joining, please do let us know in the question box, and we'll ensure someone gets back to you. So a note, basic financial knowledge is certainly going to help you here in the program. If you have a basic knowledge of financial markets, terminology, investing concepts, Microsoft Excel, those are going to be the things that you want to be thinking about before you come into this program. So certainly if you need a refresh in any of these areas, we invite you to join the program. At the first week of the course, you'll have self-assessments that you can take that really help you to understand whether or not this is going to be a course that you can continue forward with. So we've managed to build these things in as well here as you think about program fit, but you certainly are not alone. You have a lot of support here. So let us know what's on your mind, and we're here to help with any of that advising or mentorship that you need. So with that, I now have the great privilege of handing over the spotlight here to our keynote subject matter expert here and program leader at Columbia Business School. With that, over to you, Rit, for the next part of our agenda.
Great, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Yeah, my name is Rit Kirati. I am a program leader for Emeritus. So I'm actually a PhD candidate in finance at Columbia Business School. But before I came to Columbia, I spent more than a decade on Wall Street. I have worked as an investment banker here in New York. I have worked for a few hedge funds, worked for a private equity fund. And most recently, before I came here, I was a partner and an event-driven hedge fund based in Miami. So my role as a program leader is partly to help you through the program with the course content, but the other part is also for me to bring my industry experience to share with you the practical aspect of what we learned from the course. Now, in this course on options strategy, we're going to start off with some very basic knowledge. So it's appropriate for people, even those who haven't had experience with options before. We're going to start off with vocabulary on options, things like strike price, volatility, and so on and so forth. And then we build on top of that, we start thinking about different kind of options. We go into the basic things like put and call options, and we put them together into how we can, in a way, make money from using those instruments. Now, we're not going to stay at a higher level only. We're actually going to dig deep into a few ways. So first is we're going to introduce a few theoretical ways to think about options. And why is it important? It's important because it helps you understand how do these options get priced. A lot of time when you read books, you might know, oh, we have to use Black-Scholes formula to price options. But rather than staying at that level, we're going to introduce you to explain how did that formula come about, not into too much detail, not to bore you with the math, but we're going to give you enough that you know, okay, this is the rationale for these formula. And in that way, you have the ability actually to modify how to think about different kind of options. So we don't just strict constrain ourselves with basic option. We have the ability to price more esoteric option if you want to, or in the future, we have exposure to those kind of options. And then the other part of options is we want to be able to extract valuable information from these option prices in the market. So we're going to go through several examples that tell you when we look at these options and think about things like term structure of option prices or the time series prices of options, how do we extract valuable information from that? What does the market tell us about what would happen, not only in the option market, but also in the broader market as well? And then throughout, we're going to have several case studies where you would get a chance to apply these knowledge into the real practice, so that the knowledge that you gain from the course would be practical. And then lastly, you're going to have some assignment that you have to think about how can we construct a portfolio that you might use options as a trading strategy in itself, or you might also think about using options as a hedging strategy for your portfolio as well. Next slide, please. Great. Let me go through, this is a 6 weeks course, so I'm going to go through each week more slowly. So in the first week, we start off very basic. We start off with giving you information about what options are, how there are different vocabulary. Some of you might be familiar, some of you might not. So we just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we're going to start off with that by giving you basic vocabulary about these options. We're going to talk about different kind of options, those standardized options that we know those are traded on exchange. And then we're going to talk about some esoteric option that you might run into at some point in the future as well. So that way you have a broader sense of how to think about all these options. And then we're going to go into sort of institutional detail of how we trade these options. Next, please. Great. So in the second week, we're going to dig deeper and then think about different kind of settlement. As you might know, some of these options settle in cash, where you basically get a net value of the contract at the end of at the expiration of the contract, or when you exercise a contract. But in other cases, you actually might get the physical settlement, where you might get shares of the underlying options to when you exercise the options. And we're going to start going into the call option a little bit more deeply. So this week, we're going to focus mainly on call, and then the week after, we're going to focus on put. So on the call option, we're going to look at the payoff and then start decomposing the value of these call options into sort of what we call the intrinsic value of the option. And then also beyond, on top of that, what are the time value component of that option prices. So when you think about it in this perspective, it helps you understand when you think about buying options or selling options, how much money am I getting for each component, and think about that valuation more properly. And at the end, I think a lot of people think of options as a way to, as an investor, as an alternative way to, in a way, make money rather than going into the underlying, whether it be equity or bond. So we're going to start thinking about how do these differ, right? I think a lot of people have these option strategies have come into attention a lot recently because after this COVID-19, a lot of traders come in, they want to make money through options because it seems to be an easy way to make a lot of money quickly. But we want to help you think about how do you actually make money from these strategies, and how does it really differ from actually betting on speculating on stocks or bond. And think of it like, essentially, you can think of these option strategy as a levered bet on the underlying. But on top of that, you also have to think about the volatility and time and the expiration, the time component of it as well. Next, please. Great. So on the third week, we're gonna go look at the other side of options. So this is on the put option side, where we're gonna go through the same detail, thinking about why people sell put option or buy put option. How does that help? What kind of environment that would be good for you to buy and sell put options? And then we're going to put them together and think about what we call this put call parity, where you can think of essentially there's a fundamental equation that helps us think about value of put versus call versus the underlying stocks or bond, and then versus the interest rate. And this is, you can think of it as the core equation that help you understand a put call value. And it will help you a lot, not only in terms of understanding the basic, but also we're going to use this equation when we think about how do we value each option individually. In fact, if you think about the Black-Scholes formula is also get derived from these as well. Then we're going to put these put and call and the underlying together and think about how can we think about different strategies of options trading, things like straddle or strangle. When would be appropriate time to use those? So for example, when you do a straddle or strangle, that might be a better time to do it when you think volatility is going to increase, for example, versus if you bet on the other kind of option, you might bet on something else. And then we'll go through a few examples that show you how these options make money in real term. Next, please. So now, the module 4 is where we start going into a deeper level of how to think about options. So we're going to introduce these Black-Scholes formula. This is the formula that I think everyone have heard of and Wall Street firms use to price options in their trading. But we're going to dig deeper beyond that and explain to you the building block of these Black-Scholes formula, which is called the binomial model, to help you. And we, from binomial model, explain that, and then we come back and use that to build the Black-Scholes formula. So in a way, at the end, if nothing else, you can even talk to your friends and say, you know what, these complex formula, I actually understand what it means and why is it expressed in that way. But beyond that, it helps you in a sense that there are many kind of things that the Black-Scholes formula, even though it's being used widely, it built in a lot of assumptions in there. And when you're using that, you have to be aware of these assumptions in a way that you would be careful when you use it, that a Black-Scholes might not give me the right answer in a way, and I know why it is. So when you trade options, then you know what could be the pitfall. And beyond that, you actually also have the ability to use these binomial model to build the more complicated valuation model for a more complicated option. So we talked earlier about these bespoke options that the option might be structured in a more esoteric manner, and you would have the ability to price those options as well. And again, as throughout the course, we're going to have several case studies and these scenario analysis to think about how we can use these tools to apply in practice. Next, please. So In module 5, you're going to step back and think of these in a little bit broader sense. So what you're going to see from module 4 is that one of the key input into these option pricing formula is volatility, right? And so some people might seem these concepts is very intuitive, but others might not. So we're going to try to explain these concepts in a more intuitive way. And then we're going to tell you how these volatility get calculated precisely. That way you know where to get the information from. Not some of us might just look at Bloomberg or from let's say Yahoo Finance to get those information, but you would also have the ability to calculate those metrics by those statistics by yourself. And then now we're going to think more deeply about looking at these volatility across time horizon, across structure, and then across section of different strike price. And from here, you're going to be able to decipher what does it tell me about these term structure? What does these imply volatility skew or volatility smile or volatility smirk would tell us about the underlying market or about whatever we know, even about the formula, the actual formula itself. And later on, we also going to talk about these VIX index. You might have heard a lot in the news about when the market crashed, the VIX spikes. In fact, if we go back a few years earlier, the VIX trading have been one of the main strategy for a lot of funds that make money from this. But within one weekend, or I think maybe a few days, people get wiped out from these VIX index trading. So we're going to go through why that is the case. Why is it a dangerous trade in some cases to do this? And then we'll talk about how can we put on strategy that mitigate those sort of risks. Next, please. Great, so here in the last week of the course, then we're gonna dig deep. We're gonna try to apply all these into practice. We're gonna start off by talking about all these Greek notation, right? You might have heard of these before, things like delta, changes in the option price that depend on changes in the underlying security. You might have heard about things like gamma, and you heard about theta that talk about how the price of option changes in the change in delta, in the change in the time horizon, in the change in the volatility. So all these we're going to cover in detail. And not only that, we're going to talk about why these information is important for us when we think about pricing and trading different option strategy. And then we're going to think about different trading strategy in more detail, and we're going to look into some example of people that have done successfully trading these option strategy and other people that have failed from these strategy. One of the cases that came to mind for me right now was, I think maybe back in the late 1990s, there's a very well-known trader, Victor Niederhofer, who have done really well in the past. He has a great resume, have done really well trading in various securities. And then within a week, he blew up by trading options. He basically put on option. That's, in a way, it's not a big size for him to put on for the size of his fund. But given the volatility of the market, he got blown up basically within a few weeks, despite the fact that at the end, he was actually right. So in the end, he was right in his strategy, but he still blew up. So we're going to tell you what are key lessons from there. How can we apply those lessons into practice? And in that way, you can think about how we can put what we teach in this course into practice. Next, please. So throughout the course, I emphasize a few things throughout. So first, we start off very basic, so it's appropriate for people with different background. But even those people who are more experienced, don't worry, things ramp up very quickly. So those who are less experienced, you start off early, but I would hope you would stay on top of the material. In that way, you can catch up in the material. But for those who are more advanced, you're still going to get very advanced knowledge from this. I mean, what we teach here is beyond what is, in a way, is a deep level of what we teach graduate students at Columbia. And we're also going to talk about, we're going to be having all these different case studies throughout. Some of it we're going to go through during lectures. Some of it you're going to have to do it yourself as an assignment, but we're going to be looking over those and discuss those among participants and also with the program leader as well. And at the end, you're going to have to think about what you get from these courses, how you can apply these courses into practice, and so on and so forth. Now, why does Columbia teach these courses, these sort of graduate level option classes to a broader group of students? So as Columbia in New York, we have been known for our value investing practice. This is, you can think of the way the home of value investing, but we can use options into our portfolio strategy in terms of hedging as well. So that complement our strength in terms of the birthplace of value investing and a place that train a lot of Wall Street financiers. So these help us from that perspective to give our students and our participants a well-rounded knowledge about investing. And beyond that, since we're talking about hedging using these strategy, we also have the ability to apply whatever we learn from research to help you in terms of applying these into trading strategy using just options as well. Next, please. So as I mentioned, we're going to go through different examples. Many of these examples are more, in fact, they're very recent. We talk about these oil market crash in 2020 and what can we get from there? Why did we see a huge price move around that time? What sort of strategy might be useful to do at that time? We talk about these Tesla case studies. You've heard many people have made, some people have turned 6-figure into 7-8 figures with these strategy. How did that happen? How can we do something similar? And what are some pitfalls from doing that? And besides the successful cases, we also would talk about these failure cases, things like optionsellers.net that have blown up. So we would all go over all these cases. Next, please. All right, let me highlight briefly my role as a program leader. So as a program leader, we're going to be doing these sort of live office hour with Q&A. During office hour, typically what I would do during office hour is to go through an overview of the material we have covered during each week. But I would try to bring in the practical application of these into the discussion. But the other part also is it also mainly an opportunity for you to ask questions, not only to me, but also to actively engage with your peers as well. So in that way, not only you get a chance to learn from the professor and also from me as a program leader, but you would also have the opportunities to learn from your peers as well. And throughout, as I mentioned, we're going to have these weekly assignments. So you're going to, and the case studies. So we're going to discuss those in the online format in these discussion forums. So I would be monitoring those and then make sure I can help guide the discussion in the direction that I think we can tie what we learned in class into the discussion and then moderate the discussion and help add whatever I can into the insights that all of you would be contributing. And throughout, if you have any questions about the course, about the material, about the assignments, you're always welcome to reach out to me either by these Canvas messages. And I generally respond very quickly. I respond within, as Marie mentioned, within 12 to 24 hours, typically sooner. And if you have other questions that need more clarification, I would write those down. I'm gonna explain all those during office hours. That way you have a complete experience of learning.
Thank you so much, Rit, for being here. I'm going to jump back in and grab that spotlight for you again. But thank you for staying on here and telling us more about your role as a program leader. And that as you think about the learning experience, just to make this a little bit more concrete, at the beginning of each week, a set of content is released, and that content includes on-demand video lectures, and then a variety of what you see here on your screen, including weekly assignments, knowledge checks, discussion forums, a lot of peer learning, real-world application through valuation exercises, all of this aimed at really helping you to take the learning that are in these on-demand videos and bring them into life and make practical use application. So these on-demand videos, they're brief segments, 5 to 7 minutes long. You can watch them around a schedule that works for you as many times as you need to really sink your teeth into the concepts that are being described by your course faculty. And then you step away from those and you have the remainder of that week to take part in these activities and assignments. So you and your peers are in that same weekly cadence as you make your way through the program. But the day-to-day schedule is yours to design around a schedule that works for you. So you have that opportunity to access the program from a mobile device on the tablet, a lot of asynchronous material that you can access on the go in really convenient ways around your own schedule. And these things are, again, helping you to really bring your learning to life. So certainly if you have a full-time role and you can apply this learning to your current position, as you make your way through these activities, you're going to be able to bring that content knowledge into your organization and into your profession with you in real time. Unlike a traditional classroom where there's a certain number of seats in the room, a certain number of minutes to get through a certain set of curriculum, here we break down all of those barriers in space and in time, and we can provide a fully immersive, deep skills building program that introduces you to frameworks, methodologies, and then challenges you to apply that in real time in this sort of learning environment context with your peers, and then bring that learning into your profession. So this is a deep skills build, lifelong learning course that allows you to have a high level of convenience. You're able to access this program 24/7 and on the go. And you do have access beyond that 6 weeks of content. You have access for a full calendar year. So you'll be able to come back in. You'll have that intensive learning at the beginning, but you'll be able to come back in throughout the remainder of that year and continue talking about themes and ideas with your peers and engaging in the material. So not only is this course really convenient, it's designed for full-time working professionals for you to make real world application, but it's also really interactive. We really believe in the power of the various relationships that you build in this program. So immediately upon coming into the course, you're broadening out your professional network, you're gaining peers and colleagues from all regions of the globe, representing all different industry areas and professional levels. So you're going to see these themes and concepts coming to life in your industry, in your sector, in your profession, in your organization. But through that peer-to-peer learning, through engagement with your expert program leaders, such as our program leader host here today, Rit Kirati, and certainly others. These are industry experts who are coming into this program to really guide your daily learning, give you that individualized and customized experience. So no two cohorts are alike. This is not a massive open online course. This is a highly specialized private course that really challenges you to engage in an interactive way with the content as you learn it. So you're going to walk away from this program not only with friends and peers and colleagues and a whole lot more learning with practical use application, but you're also going to walk away with a chance to really springboard into some career advancement opportunities. A big part of what we do in this program is to help support your career goals. So there's a reciprocity to the learning. You're coming in with your challenges, your goals, your learning, all culminating in a chance to really verify and formalize your training by earning a credential here from Columbia Business School. So this is a huge opportunity, particularly if you're looking to springboard into career advancement opportunities. Having a certificate here from Columbia Business School that formalizes your training and really showcases your expertise is going to go a long way in helping you to reach those career advancement goals. And of course, all throughout the program, your program leaders, your peers, they're there for you as well as you think about making practical job market advancement. So that's a part of the curriculum and a part of the experience every step of the way. We want to be the partners that help get you there as you continue to advance your career, advance your learning. So certainly we hope you'll join us. This is our last and final slide. And what you're going to see here on this slide is a snapshot of the course website. So this is what the course website looks like. And to get to the course website, you'll see there's a link on the screen there. You can't click on the screen link, but if you open your chat box, you'll see there's a link right there in the chat that you can click on, and it's going to take you right on over to that website. And this is what you're going to see when you get there. And you can see on the website, you have 3 options. Option number 1 is to download that full course brochure. That's everything we talked about here today and more. It's beautifully designed and a comprehensive scope of this program. So download that brochure, take a look, get to know the program. And then the second thing here is to schedule a call with a program advisor. So I introduced you to our advisors at the beginning. They are the course experts here when it comes to all of the logistics for this program. When does the course begin? What's the next run of the program? When are those live office hours with program leaders? I want to make sure I'm there for that. That seems like really useful for my learning. They're going to give you those logistical information, any course policy questions that you have. What's the evaluative criteria for those assignments? How do I earn that certificate of completion? What's my alumni access or my library access? These are questions they can support. And then, of course, registration, enrollment, financing, they're there to walk you through those steps as well. Program advisors have the most current information about special discounts, financing options. There's a robust referral system here across all programs at Columbia Business School. What's next? So after this course, are there other courses that really help you take the next step? And here the answer is yes. There's over 18, I think at this point, maybe more, online courses here at Columbia Business School really highlighting different areas of investment and strategy here in the finance industry. The other thing, as you think about registration and enrollment and getting up and running in this program, you can also talk to your advisor about what's next after this. What does that, looking across the courses here at Columbia Business School, how can I really design the best pathway that meets my professional and organizational goals? So your program advisor will really be a good resource for you. That brochure is going to be a good resource for you. We want to make sure that high level of support and relationship building that you're going to get in the program begins right here today with this session and getting connected with an advisor. So go on over to that website if you haven't done so already. Download the brochure. You can either schedule a call with an advisor. If you click on that, it'll take you right over to a scheduling app where you can just select a time that works for you. It's one click away, really easy to set up, and you can have that phone call, or you can call them 24/7 using the number there on your screen. The third thing you can do from the website is begin that application process. If you're ready to get started, we hope you'll begin that application process. As soon as you do that, you'll have access to a landing page where you can begin to really get to know this program and get prepared to get started. There's a lot in store for you as you think about learning, as you think about joining Columbia Business School, and as you think about this program in particular in options strategy. Thank you again to our keynote expert host here, Rit Bhatti, for being here and taking us through this content and staying up all the way through the end of our program. So you're an emeritus program leader here, but also an industry expert. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about your background and your involvement in the teaching and learning here in this course as it pertains to Emeritus?
Yeah, I've been working with Emeritus for about 2 years now. My main job is actually PhD students at Columbia, and this is my last year here. So after this, I'm going to be a professor. But before I came to Columbia, as I mentioned, I spent about 13 years or so on Wall Street, mostly in New York and sometimes in Miami as well. I've worked in several capacity, from investment banker, private equity investor. I did some distress investing, and my last job was a partner at a hedge fund doing event-driven investing. And my role here, I love teaching. That's why I came to Columbia to do my PhD, and that's why I'm going to go become a first professor afterward. But with Emeritus, I want to bring my teaching skills and also add to that my professional experience to help people who are interested in investing. I'm passionate about market. I still follow the market closely. I invest in my own money and so on and so forth. I enjoy teaching. I have done this for several courses now because I have a lot of investing experience. Many of the courses I look at are these investment related courses. So one of the courses that I am doing now is also on investment strategies that look at broader strategies across asset classes. That way we can have a broader sense of investing in different type of asset classes. And then there are also other classes like value investing, for example, that dig deeply into just these strategies specifically. And there's a variant on that for example, value investing in technology, because now you might have heard with the tech stocks rising so much, some people might ask, can value investing still work or not? Or on the other hand, there's also a question about, hey, in the last 10 years or so, actually value has suffered a bit compared to growth, for example. Is value dead? And all these we're going to be discussing in those courses, right? And beyond that, there's many other courses like ESG investing, real estate investing, corporate valuation, and all those. So depend on how much deeply you want to dig into each of these content. We have several courses to offer. And I think Columbia is still thinking about offering other courses that might be suitable for different kind of students as well.
And I'd add to that too. One of the values of being in a program like this is you're a program leader, and there you got guidance in real time on what some of those other courses might be in terms of your next step. And once you're in the program, that level of specialized advising and support that you just witnessed here just now taking place, that's what you're going to expect to receive here in the program. So you can reach out to your program leader week 1, week 2, and say, hey, listen, I'm interested in another program here. What other offerings are there? And that's one of the areas that you can expect as you think about this program, that individualized advising, that specialized support, really somebody at the really paying attention to your learning and helping to guide your thinking and guide that trajectory with you. So I love that we were able to exemplify that here today in this session and show you a little bit of what that looks like. No two cohorts are alike. And this is a chance really to come in with your own challenges, your own goals, and gain that specialized learning pathways. There's certainly a lot in store here for you as you think about joining this course, and not only in the learning, but that advising, that mentorship, and that support that you saw just now. So David, you had followed up with how long are the lectures, what time of day? So something to note here again, those video lectures, bite-sized, small clips, 5 to 7 minute long, those are on demand and they're released at the beginning of the week. There's usually about 45 minutes to an hour worth of content in those videos culminating, but they're segmented in these small clips that you can watch around your own schedules. You can watch them whenever you need to within that week, as many times as you need to. Then you step away from those video lectures and you take part in a variety of learning activities. The live learning lecture component takes place in the form of office hours in this program. So this is a chance for you to talk to your program leader, join office hours, and they're scheduled both in the AM and the PM in order to make them available for our global cohort. And they're also all recorded and put into the platform. So if you miss a live session, you'll have a simulated live experience available the next day and for the remainder of the program. So even if you have to miss one of those synchronous or live learning opportunities, you're going to be able to catch up on anything you miss. So again, we've designed the program to be highly interactive and engaging, but also really convenient. So you don't have to worry about showing up at a certain date at a certain time outside of those office hours. You're going to be just fine in the program, but you're still going to experience that really high level of engagement and real-time learning and specialized instruction and support. Are you able to discuss past option trades and lessons learned? I'm not sure exactly what the direction here is, but I'm going to pitch that one over to you, maybe to illuminate a little bit here.
Sure. Yeah. So I think you want to ask the experience that I have had with options trading. So for me, we have traded options both to hedge our position, our stocks position, and also in some cases we do some sort of maybe spread trade on options as well to capture additional gain. Or in some cases we might sell a put at some just to for stocks that we want to buy in that way that if the price drop low enough, we can capture those. But generally in the class, we're going to be we're going to be walking you through several case studies of these real option trading strategy as well. But for me, the key lesson that I got from my experience was mainly these options. A lot of time is really, I have to think carefully about the volatility and the pricing that we are paying for it. Am I paying too expensively for it? Because as you will see later, for many options, the expected return for these options are actually negative because oftentimes we tend to use them as hedges, right? So we have to be careful about buying these options at the right price. And the other thing is, in many cases, options tend to expire worthless. So we want to be gradual, be small in terms of our position. In that way, it's not going to create a huge loss if those options expire worthless. And last thing is, obviously, options is a levered play. So in many cases, if you're wrong, you could get wiped out. You might have heard terms that people talk about. In some cases, strategies like selling a put might be similar to picking pennies in front of steamroller. So we want to avoid that kind of thing. Or even if we do that, we want to make sure we don't do too much of it because we've seen too many cases that have happened before. Not only things that have happened a long time ago, but it happened so often that I think it should serve as a warning for all of us.
So much in store, just as you can see here, that real-time learning, that relevant learning for today's modern professionals. Any final words of wisdom? We're going to close out the session here in just a moment. If you haven't done so already, grab out that link from your chat box. As our audience is thinking about joining this program, we've got folks from all over the globe, many different industries, professional levels, challenges and goals here. Any final words of wisdom or thoughts that you'd like to share out as we say goodbye here and close out our session?
Yeah, before I get there, so last thing about event risk, absolutely. So that's one of the key thing we're going to discuss, I think in module 5 or 6. So we're going to talk about all those and what sort of information we can glean from these option prices. And, not just one particular option, but we look at what term structure of options tell us and all these, and how can we use those to help in our trade. And not just in equity, also in bond as well. So in our examples, we're not going to look at example of equity, not even index. We look at specific individual stocks option and also on like oil on treasuries as well. And for last word, I hope you guys sign up for the course. I teach with Emeritus for several courses now. I really enjoy the experience. I think all of my students enjoy their learnings, both with the professor and also with program leader. You will get a lot of it out of it, not only in terms of the fundamental understanding of how things work, but also the practical application of how to apply this knowledge into practice as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been an absolute honor learning here from you today, Rit. Thank you for being here to tell us all about this program and to share your knowledge so generously here today. To all of you who've joined in from across the globe, thank you as well for being here. I've enjoyed learning shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you. We hope you'll join us in the program. If you have any follow-up questions after today's event, we invite you to get connected there with an advisor. They can be that first line of support for you. And then, of course, once you're in the program, you're going to get all of the benefits of those relationships that you build with your peers, your program leaders, your course faculty, and this broader alumni community at Columbia Business School. So we hope you'll join us. We hope to see you back here in the program. And thank you for being here today. We sign off here today with a heartfelt good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Special thanks to our program, each and every one of you after. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.